You have two choices, or you don't vote, but you have two choices if you do. And it's two very different visions for our nation. One mind that is about taking us forward and progress and investing in the American people, investing in their ambitions, dealing with their challenges. And the other, Donald Trump, is about taking us backward.
The other is about fascism. Why can't we just say it?
Yes, we can say that.
We can say that. I mean, we have been saying it, but now she's saying it. Technically, he said it. She agreed with it, and that is actually big because it is, I believe, the first time that Harris has ever personally endorsed the idea that the movement that underlines Donald Trump is a fascist movement. It's a fascistic movement. I think it's objectively true. She has not generally identified it in that way. Joe Biden has actually come closer in the last year to doing that. And I think that's big, and I think it's important. And I want to talk, Sharon, about what Charlamagne said there, what Harris said there. Bear in mind, it was during an hour-long interview where she was live responding to callers. So again, this idea that she doesn't take questions, she doesn't do interviews. I mean, that is a very uncontrolled thing. God knows what she could be asked over the course of an hour. Can you imagine Donald Trump doing that? He doesn't take hours of questions from Fox and Friends, let alone random people. And she's doing it. But that said, I do think that it's an accurate description of his movement. And I think it represents, her endorsing that idea, represents a changing strategy. She's kind of backed off of the Joe Biden defense of democracy stuff, focusing on the economy, focusing on abortion. And I think that she's realizing that that is a thing that people care about. It's a big motivator for the vote. And maybe she's gonna be focusing on it more. But what do you think?
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And by the way, Charlamagne asked her a lot of tough questions. He put her in a bad spot too, because she was had to split the baby in defending Barack Obama, former president. He said Barack Obama was out there waving his finger at black men. That was how he phrased the question to her, and she handled it. But I agree with you. It's time to speak truth to power. It's time to talk specifically. What are we, 19 days? I don't know. How many days out are we? You have to tell people what they need to hear, but also what they're begging to hear more about. And I think that she is pivoting and doing that now.
Yeah, and look, it is critically important. He does pose that threat. And the issue also is he's always been a threat. I mean, he did the coup, literally he did the coup. He is
peaceful
being
transition.
Way more aggressive. Peaceful transition. He's being way more aggressive in his rhetoric now. I mean, he is constantly talking about deploying the military against his political opponents. He's talking about locking up journalists. He's always sort of done that. He's doing it way more aggressively, and he cannot go an event without doing that. And so if he's doing everything he can to let the American people know what a threat to democracy he is, I think it's only fair that the Democrats contribute to that. And so they are. And by the way, not just them and not just him. Remember, General Mark Milley, the retired chairman of the US Joint Chiefs of Staff, called him a total fascist and a fascist to the core, saying he's the most dangerous person in American political history. He worked with him. I mean, why are all of these people who closely worked under Donald Trump convinced that he would be a nightmare if he were to become president again? And so I think that it's a good strategy. I'm glad that they're going to be focusing on it, hopefully going to be focusing on this. We have another video actually set aside that we'll be covering on tomorrow's show with Nina Turner. But bear in mind, while she has just finally labeled him a fascist or agreed with the characterization, Trump has repeatedly referred to her as a fascist, despite the fact that that's not what that is. You can try to link what she believes to different movements. It's not a fascist movement. It simply isn't. He's also called her a Marxist, because those are the same, I guess. He branded her comrade. I guess she's a communist and a Marxist and a fascist. And he's also referred to Democrats as scum and absolute garbage. To be clear, so just like if you think that she's being too radical with what she's calling him, she's gonna have a tough time catching up to him in terms of the insults or the provocative labels. Anyway, you know what we're gonna do? I think we have enough time. Harris agreed with Charlamagne's hit on Trump. Let's also play this Joe Biden clip where he gets in a little zinger against Trump too.
Look, this is from the same guy who calls himself a great protector of women. Folks, look, there's the same guy who's been held liable for $83 million for sexual abuse and defamation. Same guy. Look, Donald Trump's not running for you. He's running for himself. I think he's running to stay out of jail. What's he got left?
I didn't hear it there, but he definitely labeled him a loser. Maybe I just missed it upon that rewatch. But anyway, a loser is just trying to stay out of jail. And again, look, I think there's a lot of reasons that he's running that really have little to do with being president. Remember, for all of the damage that he can and will do if he becomes president, he was president before, and he didn't often seem to care that he was, like, he didn't really seem that excited about it. Like Joe Biden, has a lot of issues. He really seems to want to be president. I mean, he fought to not be pushed out for a really long time. Whereas Donald Trump just doesn't, it's not that he wants to be president. He doesn't want to not be president is how I'd word it, I guess. And, staying out of jail, I think could be a powerful motivator. Any quick thoughts about that, Sharon?
No, I think you're right. And I think your assessment of Joe Biden is right. And yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think he's enjoyed also being president, and somebody convinced him, maybe it was Jill, that you can focus on your library and things will still be swell for you. And it'll be great. You'll give a speech at the end too. And you get to have a party and musical guests.
That's true. Model trains are very fun. Set one of those up. But anyway,
they are actually.
I probably would really enjoy it actually. When I'm 80, I'm just gonna be playing board games all day. In fact, I kind of can't wait to be 80 so I could do that.
Fun.
But anyway, good little zinger from him. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?